right? This epidemic of trauma that we have, especially in kids, being sheltered and wrapped in cotton wool away from the opportunity to build
Oh,
emotional resilience, to downregulate their nervous system. It's literally setting them up for failure.
100%.
We
This
have a generation that's being set up to be emotional basket cases who cannot regulate their own system.
have you read the book, The Coddling of the American Mind, How Best Wishes and Good
No,
Intentions Destroyed a Generation of People?
no, have not.
It was written by two, at the time, very liberally minded psychologists who, after the data came in, after 20, 30, 40 years of like real case studies, have literally applied these things saying, hey, we were wrong. All of these things we thought were a good idea. Participation trophies, kinder, gentler, don't, not yell, safe spaces, all this shit literally has set people up for mental weakness and for failure
Yep.
because they're never learning the mental tools. And at the end of the day, life doesn't give a fuck. Life doesn't care how gentle your childhood was. When your partner dies in a car crash one day, that just happens.
It doesn't care. The universe, God, it's just a reflection of where you're at.
Yes.
The concept that there's a man in the sky. Sorry.
No.
I also spent time, many different houses of worship and cultures. Whoever you believe is the God, they don't give a fuck about you.
No.
It's not the way it works. It's simply giving you the opportunity to see yourself over and over and over again. You are doing yourself, your family, your community a disservice by not increasing the amount of pressure you're under and learning to take responsibility for how you feel by
Dude,
coming back to the now.
and just like circling it back to the selection thing, because I've had so many people that would argue with me, especially out here on the West Coast, that why is it that those things are so hard? Like, isn't it because they talk about, how devastating it is to people when they pat or they fail and they blah, 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 blah. And they're like, isn't it? It's so fucked up that it's so elitist and it's so hard and it's so this and it's so that and blah, 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 blah. And I go, listen, selection processes for spec ops came in response to a real world need. It wasn't like somebody just sat there and dreamt up this horrible, training selection process and then went, wow, we're just going to fuck people over and beat the shit out of people for about 2 years. No, let's find a job for them. No, it came in the reverse where there was a terrible job that needed to be done and they needed to find a way to select, filter, and train people that were capable of doing that job, i.e., the real world set the standards, not the classroom. The classroom responded to the standards, right? And yet we now sit in a world where the classroom thinks that it makes the rules. And that's simply not the case. And that's how you get this exactly what we're talking about here, where people who have grown up in bubbles and then they go, well, if every all the time, everything's always been fair throughout my entire life and gentle. But what do you mean? What do you mean doesn't the real world know that there's rules that I'm supposed to be? It's like, no, it doesn't.
And is playing by a set of rules that you haven't fathomed, that the universe is a reflection of what's going on for you and you haven't taken responsibility for how you feel. And here, the drop the microphone moment, if anything we have said today and you're listening to this is getting an emotional response out of you, it's because you think it means something about you. That is your portal. Dave and I aren't saying this shit to provoke you. We're saying to because we love you.
Yeah.
This is the portal for investigation for yourself. If anything we have said pushes your buttons, we've got tens of thousands of hours in this realm, pushes your buttons, it's because you think it means something about you. No one else thinks that. You think that first. Therefore, that is where you need to look and build that resilience, that understanding, that love of the self. That's something you think is you're powerless to change about yourself. And that's the end of conversation. This is not up for discussion because that's the bottom line. And if you want to shoot some comments and throw out the hate, then go for it.
Yeah.
Because if you want, then I'll actually just do a read on you right then and there and tell you what's coming up for you. And you're not going to like it. It's not going to be pretty and it's going to be for the world to see.
All real power starts with accepting truths